My favorite segment of the week is already upon us as we've got our guy Brian Baldinger. Of course, Baldy in the fold today. Every Tuesday joins PHNX Cardinals. And, Baldy, a lot has changed in the last 2 weeks. You were very complimentary of this Arizona Cardinals organization. We liked a lot of what we saw, especially from the offensive side of the football. But what stands out to you as far as Joshua Dobbs, the 5 turnovers the last couple games, about his game that's different from where it was, 2 weeks ago?
Well, I think even more than the turnovers, the 2 missed deep shots to Hollywood Brown. I mean, he got behind, the corner on both times. And it's a home run shot. You can see the frustration. Witherspoon, I think, got a finger on one of them. But the other one, is just poorly thrown. And so they had a chance for 14 points. I mean, you get a deep shot like that, just like Justin Herbert missed Keenan Allen last night. You got to hit those shots. And it wasn't like Aaron Donald was breathing down his neck. They protected really well, and he couldn't finish those. So, he looks frustrated right now that he can't. The last interception he threw on Sunday, he looked really frustrated by what he did and the throw that he made. And so it's starting to mount a little bit right now as running backs go down and, the roster kind of turns over a little bit. I mean, they're losing some of these opportunities where they're in these games for a half or 3 quarters. They can't gain a stinking yard 2 weeks in a row. 4th and 1, there they are. They got the lead. Like, they can go get more, and they can't convert on 4th and 1. They don't know what play to run, how to execute it. And so there's just frustration that seems to be mounting, Bo.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the 2 missed opportunities to Hollywood Brown. One would have been a certain touchdown. The other would have at least moved the chains on 4th down in 2 crucial plays. And it would have changed the complexion of this game, right? Because you go into halftime, it's 9-6. If you get in the end zone once, I don't think that Sean McVay can deploy the offensive game plan that he had in the second half. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I don't know if they come out and run Kyron Williams the way that they did in the second half. Maybe he pops from runs like he did, but I don't know if they're down 2 scores, if he's going to be that patient. He might just start, throwing to Cooper and Nakua and the guys that he does. Like, he might have started that sooner. I don't know that he would have been as patient on the ground, because that was certainly a real departure from what they did in the first half.
Well, when you look at the inaccuracies and you look at Dobbs' games, what's the most concerning thing? Is it just he's too amped up out of there? Is it a footwork thing? Is he just under too much pressure from the opposing defensive front? What are you seeing?
Well, I mean, it might be just some of all that. I mean, I can't get inside Joshua here. He's missing open receivers right now. And look, that's his job, is to complete a high percentage of passes and let those guys, run with it after the catch. And, who knows? Maybe this is what we can expect from Josh. Maybe he's a backup that can capably fill in, play a game or 2, play at a high level, but maybe he's not that guy. This time always kind of shows what a person really is, or what a player really is. Is he really a starter, or is this just what we're looking at right now? Is, it's like I'm getting ready for the Colts, and Gardner Minshew looks like an all-world backup. He goes in there, starts a game, he gets a game ball, they win a game, and now all of a sudden, it's on him. And he throws 3 interceptions last week, and, the game gets away from him. But, sometimes it's just, I don't want to say pressure, but sometimes it's like, okay, I got to make this happen. Like, it's up to me to, convert this 3rd down, get this ball in the end zone, make this deep shot. And sometimes guys just aren't wired to do that week in, week out, and shoulder the load the way you have to in this business.
Now, another person that's had a completely different 2 weeks than they did to have to start the season was rookie 3rd-round pick Michael Wilson. We were really excited about him. Where do you think he struggled to find himself? Why is he less involved in this passing game?
I mean, he's not getting targeted. I mean, he had the big catch, I think, for 26, 28 yards, something. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. Like they seem to still want to be a run-first team, and when they're not running, Joshua's like taking off with it and picking up big chunks in some of his scrambles. Like, it doesn't. Sometimes you just go, okay, a receiver's not involved the way we think he should be. When I watch some of these offenses, and Arizona's not that different than a bunch of them in this offense, that lacks rhythm and timing. Where you watch a healthy Joe Burrow right now drop back and the ball's out, reads the defense, ball's in Jamar Chase's hands, boom. And there's a rhythm to it. There's a timing to it. And it seems to me that rhythm and timing that you saw a bunch, like you saw really pick up with Stafford to Cup and Stafford and Nakua, you see that timing where the ball's out before the guys are out of their breaks. Like, I just don't see that from this offense right now.
And we saw firsthand, like, Burrow and Chase got right against the Arizona Cardinals right before our eyes, 15 catches, 192 yards. Like, what were they able to do that, I think it's asking a lot for a Joshua Dobbs and a third-round rookie out of Stanford. Like, how do they, at least in their way, get back on track like Burrow and Chase have done in the last 2 weeks?
Well, I mean, look, let's face it. I mean, Joe Burrow was the first pick in the draft.
Right.
Jamar Chase was the third pick in the draft. I believe maybe it was the fifth. But
fifth,
I mean,
yeah.
they're top of the board. They're the best coming out of, a national championship program
right.
that we've seen in a long time. And they have unusual skills. And Joe's healthy right now. He got healthy against you, and now he's really healthy. And now they're just, I mean, Jamar's got 50 catches after 6 weeks. And he was 2 weeks ago, he was saying, I'm open, I'm always open.
Right.
And they weren't throwing the ball. So, like, they just have unusual timing. But, you talk to Jamar, like, they've been doing this for 5 years. Like, they did it for 2 years at LSU. They've done it 3 years here in Cincinnati. I mean, that's a lot of time together. Off seasons, college, pros, playoffs, that's just a whole lot of time together. You can't expect really Joshua Dobbs or Michael Wilson or Hollywood to have that kind of timing with so little time together.
Yeah, we, the second half, completely different story. It seems like each and every week for this Arizona Cardinals team. But we saw this Rams team abandon the run and then come out and emphasize that in the second half. What is it that's sticking out to you as far as the second half woes? I mean, Nick Rollis' defense did a good job in the first half, but it was against a one-dimensional passing attack. What is it, that you're seeing from this Cardinals defense, just a short positive and then right back to kind of the negatives in the second half?
Well, you're not seeing them play defense on the other side of the football, Bo. And typically if you're going to, shut down a running football team, you're going to penetrate. You're going to get them. See, if you're, look, if you're Arizona right now and you lose 4 yards on first down, like, you're not running the ball on 2nd and 14. Neither is Sean McVay's not running it on 2nd and 14. You need some negative runs. You need them to think about handing it off on 2nd and 11, and dropping back, and where you can really alter your defense to really play for the pass and take some things away and maybe take their number one option away. But when you're gashing you for 8 yards on first down or even 6 yards, like, it's just a whole lot easier to stay with it. And, that opening touchdown in the third quarter for the Rams, they really just ran it right down their throats. And they just, they got chunks, and then they stayed with it with, good runs on first down. They just didn't, you just didn't see the negative plays that you need. And sometimes, you got to dial up a run blitz. You got to dial up a safety off the edge, whatever it is, to try and get them trapped behind the line of scrimmage, to take them out of that rhythm of running it.
Yeah, I mean, it really felt like, at least against San Francisco, there's a disparity in talent, right? I mean, as far as what they were doing, blowing the defensive line off the ball, winning the line of scrimmage, where, you look at this Rams team coming into this contest, it felt like, they were in the same weight class, Baldy, and that didn't look the case in the second half. Like, you mentioned maybe dial up some run blitzes. Are they doing enough schematically, or is it just that talent disparity that's just at play in the second half of these games, or just at play sometimes when the Cardinals looked overmatched?
Well, I've been studying the Rams really close, and a lot of people don't know the names of some of these guys, Byron Young or Roseboom, like some of these guys. But I mean, Steve Avila at left guard he looks like a sumo wrestler. Like, that guy is a big, powerful man, and he's a good football player. And Alaric Jackson played good, and they've got their line together right now. I mean, Havenstein's always been a good player, but the thing that they do probably better than everybody else in this whole league is they literally are. I'm not going to get too technical here, Bo, but like, they're literally a 11 personnel team. They're literally one back, one tight end, 3 receivers. Except what they're really good at is their receivers are almost like a tight end blocking, like Cooper Kupp. Even this Nakua right now, they're excellent blocking at the line of scrimmage. and they seal the edge. They double team at the point. They dig your safeties out of the box. Like, they're really good blockers. They probably Cooper Kupp is probably as good a wide receiver blocker as there is in the NFL. And I think there's sometimes when he has a good block that he's more excited about that than him catching his first touchdown pass of the season last week.
Before I ask you about Kyler Murray, and everybody in the chat wants to talk about K1, there's been rumblings around here that he could return to the practice field. I want to talk about, the left tackle on this team. It seems like DJ Humphreys, I don't know if it stands out to you on film that he's kind of struggled, especially the last 2 weeks. Is that a product of DJ Humphreys having tough matchups the past 2 weeks, or do you see something from the 9-year veteran for the Cardinals that is not too great as far as success?
It doesn't seem to be anchoring real well right now. I mean, they had a run play where I don't know what they were trying to do, honestly. Like, everybody pulled, and Aaron Donald, sacked Joshua Dobbs. I think it was a quarterback power. I mean, but he didn't have a chance to even get his feet set, and Aaron Donald was slamming him to the ground. There had to be a missed assignment there. I don't know if it was Daly, but they've had changes at left guard that always affects your left tackle. I don't know if Daly's a guard at all. He's just looks like a body in there right now. Like, you got to have a team on each side, and guys just know each other. They just know how to help each other out because it's all teamwork. And so some of it, I think, is just the struggles they've had at left guard right now, and guys in and out of the lineup.
All right, let's get to the what everybody wants to talk about. It's Kyler Murray. If he hits the practice field tomorrow, what in your opinion is his biggest hurdle? And obviously, you got the 21-day window between going from post-surgery to onto the practice field to him getting into the lineup and having success, kind of recapturing the success we saw through the first 3 years of his NFL career.
Well, it's a new offense. It's a new way of doing things. It's new players. So, you got to build your timing up. And it's one thing, even in the next couple of weeks, it's one thing to go out in the practice field. The game speed is going to be different. These guys, everybody's in full season mode right now. They're in win mode, and they've seen it now for 6 straight weeks. And so everything, his reflexes, his reactions, his eyes, he's got to catch up. He's missed a lot of time. And, a lot of these people went through the off seasons, the preseason games, and the month of September, where everybody sort of is trying to get up to speed. And now you're seeing a separation in this league between the haves and have-nots. We're seeing a lot of blowout games. We're seeing teams that really struggle in certain areas, and they're not able to find different ways to coach that weakness up. So he's got to catch up to all that. And, just for example, just the missed throws to Hollywood, 4th and 5. I don't know if he's going to be any better than Joshua was. Maybe he will. Maybe it just comes back like he's back at Allen High School. I don't know. But I think that there's a curve where he's got to catch up to the speed. I mean, that sounds, crazy. K1
sure.
is always fast as anybody. But just catch up to the speed of the game and the speed that you got to play the game at and how fast these teams are playing.
And what does K1 bring back to the Cardinals that isn't on the roster that exists right now, that Joshua Dobbs can't do for them at this moment?
Well, I mean, Josh has done. He's still played well. I mean,
sure.
Look, he's got the fumbles, he's got the interceptions the last couple of weeks. Like, the turnovers are there, but he's rescued a lot of plays. He's made a lot of big scrambles. He's kept them in games into the third quarter, even in these games they've lost recently to Cincinnati. And last week he's got them in games. But Kyler. He's a baller. Okay, I just remember that play against the Raiders last year, keeping a play alive, finding a way to win a game. Like, he's thrown the Hail Mary passes. He's won in the fourth quarter. He's gone to the playoffs. Like, he's just got so much more experience at all levels, major college football, the NFL level. And so, I think there's a certain amount of, I got to show this regime, this team, the league, that I was worth the contract, that I was worth the number one. Like, he's got a lot to prove. And so I think if he feels that way, and I think he does, if he feels that way, then he should prepare and play that way.
Incredible insight from our guy Brian Baldinger, jumping on all of our city programs, looking out for more from Baldy. But of course, you can watch his work, NFL Network. You can follow him at Baldy NFL on Twitter for all his great Baldy breakdowns. You can find those across the YouTube streets as well. Looking forward to the next Tuesday, my man. Enjoy the games here already in week 7 of the NFL season. Thanks, Baldy.
It's flying, Bo. You got it, man. I'll talk to you next week.